Hello and welcome to Digital Photography with Mr Grayson. So first we're going to look at all the tech we need to take some pictures in about the house. There's a tripod there, that's a mirrorless camera, a compact system camera, and there's a digital SLR, the bigger one, a wide angle lens for fisheye, a telephoto lens, a cleaner, an SD card to save our pictures, and a card to upload them. We'll have a look at the digital SLR first because it's the biggest and meanest looking camera. Best thing about it is it's got all the manual modes on it here, so we can set our aperture and we can set our shutter speed and our ISO. Those are the three main things which determine your picture. You can see we can also take the picture through the screen, but mostly you would take the picture looking through the viewfinder on this. We'll have a little look inside and see how it works. In there you can see the sensor just behind a mirror. Every time I'm pressing the shutter button there, that's the button to take the picture, the mirror flicks up and the light hits the sensor behind it. I'm just changing it to a manual mode here so we can get a better look at this. So now when I press the button down, as long as I hold it, you can actually see it's still taking a picture and it's hitting that sensor behind it. It's quite a big sensor for the camera, so that helps us get a lot of detail and a lot of quality. The camera's actually a little bit smaller than it looks. That bit at the bottom is called a battery grip. Lets us store a couple of batteries in it, which lasts a bit longer. Gives us another shutter button on the corner, so when we turn it portrait wise, it's just a little bit more stable for taking pictures. Now you can change lenses on digital SLRs, which is one of the great features of them. So different lenses give you different types of pictures you can take. There's also a little sun hood there to keep it protected and stop glare on the picture. And we can see here, this camera here is a little bit smaller. It's a mirrorless camera. And this time when we open this one up, you can see it just hits the sensor straight away. There's no mirror in the way. So that allows the whole camera to be a lot smaller. Now, there's some disadvantages with this as well, but first up, these tend to be more modern than the digital SLRs. As soon as you turn it on, the lens pops out there and you can see the view comes through the screen. It's very fast, just like your mobile phone, showing what picture you're about to take. When you look through the viewfinder there, it's a digital screen as well, and that's a little bit slower than using the mirror that you'd have in a digital SLR. But you do have all the manual modes as well on these, so you know it does do a good job of it. There's program mode here, which sets everything for us automatically unless we change something. There's aperture priority, which I use most of the time. It gives me that dial there to let me change the aperture. Well, actually it's changing the exposure compensation, makes it a little bit brighter or a little bit darker. So if it's overexposed or underexposed, that'll tweak the picture. The f-stop there is the size of the hole which lets the light in. Now oddly it's a smaller number, which actually means a bigger hole letting more light in. We can see here on the left, when you use that wider aperture, a larger hole, it blurs out the background. But when you use a smaller aperture, you get more in focus. It actually gives you a deeper depth of field, it's called. Now there's also a mode called shutter priority. Now this lets us change how long it takes the picture for us. So it pulls the shutter up, or like we saw on the digital SLR, the mirror goes up. Now you can see here, if we use a slow speed on the left, fast moving objects tend to blur like this fire. If you use a fast speed, not as much light comes in, but it freezes the action. Manual mode lets us control both the aperture and shutter speed with the two dials there, so you can see I can adjust one for the shutter speed there, and it's telling me if it's underexposed or overexposed. So if I take a picture at 4,000th of a second at a really small aperture, f16, it's telling me the picture is going to be too dark. You'd only really use manual if you've got really awkward lighting situations. Most of the time we'd use aperture priority. The other thing to think about here is the ISO, which is the sensitivity of that sensor, how much light is needed to take the picture. So the more sensitive it is, the quicker it can take the picture, so it's good for low light, but you don't get the rich detail of colour, so it tends to be better to get the lower ISO you can get away with. So there we go, so that's all the main settings. We're going to leave it on aperture priority. I'm going to take a few pictures out and about around. We'll have a look at some of the other lenses we've got here as well. This is for the DSLR. It's just a standard old lens, a 28mm, and a fisheye adapter on the front. As you see, that unscrews off. Gives us a little bit of a wider view, so we can fit a little bit more in the picture, which would be a bit fun to play with. This is a telephoto lens, so this is an 840 to 150mm lens. So the bigger the number in the lens, you can see as I twist it, it zooms in, there's the numbers there. That means we can zoom in closer to an image, and basically you can take pictures from further away. It's good for sports and it's good for images which you try and take which are in the distance. Finally, there's a little memory card there. That's very useful because obviously you need one of those to store your pictures on. And we've also got the lens cleaning cloth. We need to make sure they're nice and clean before we get out and take some pictures. We can take pictures in the garden today. That's one place we're going to be going. Take some pictures of the pinball machines. and also some Lego, so we can get some close-up. I'm going to be taking a picture of this with mobile phones as well, so if you haven't got a digital SLR or a mirrorless camera, don't worry, you can still take pictures on your phone too. The garden's got loads of good things to take pictures, as is quite overrun with weeds at the moment, but there you go. So lots of things they still take a picture of. Now you can see with this picture, I've used f5.6, which gives me a fairly shallow depth of field, 1,000th of a second, so taking the picture really quick. It was really bright outside. I've used that big zoom lens to get close in to what I want to take of. The nice thing about that aperture is it's blurred out the background. I didn't get quite as close as I wanted though. On this one here, I've actually used 2x digital tele zoom. So what that means in the camera, I've actually cropped in and cut out the edge of the picture, which let me get a little bit closer, and you can see some of the pollen even on that little daisy there. So that lets you get a little bit close by cropping in either on the computer, or sometimes there's a function in the camera to do it. Now this picture of the gnome here, I've taken this at landscape, but really it's a picture of a person almost, or like an object like a person, so maybe portrait might look a little bit better so we can see a bit more of the character. I've got down on my knees to take this picture, and I've used the vari-angle screen so I can see what I'm taking. It makes it a lot easier with that mirrorless camera, but it's good to get down to different angles and see, you know, what kind of shot you can take. If you take a picture from a low angle looking up, it'll make objects look a little bit more imposing or impressive. This picture here, this doesn't have a feature called HDR. You can see the green at the front, it's a little bit overexposed, which means it's too bright. Okay, so I've got a very shadowy picture and a very light green foreground. So using HDR, the camera actually takes 3 pictures, merges them together. That's a free setting you can get on your camera, mobile phones as well. Now you can see in this picture I used HDR again, but because it took those 3 pictures on the second time, I accidentally moved the camera a bit and it blurred, so that wasn't ideal. This one here, I've used a smaller aperture and then a wider aperture, so you can see the difference. This is the wider aperture, so that blurs out the background. The smaller aperture kept that in focus too. This one here, it was a little bit bright, so I used the exposure compensation, moved that dial down to make it a little bit darker so you can see a bit more detail. There's all the pictures from the garden. So let's have a look at the pinballs next. This is a fisheye lens, so I've just been able to fit everything in. Because it's such a wide angle, a lot tends to be in focus anyway, but I've had to put the ISO up quite a bit here, from about 100 to 200 in the garden to about 800. I don't want to go much past 1600 or 3200 because that's when it starts losing detail and quality. So one issue we've got here is when we're taking pictures of these, the glass is causing some reflection, so we really want to see some of the detail on here. So we've taken the glass off to get some better pictures. Now this one here, I'm using the digital SLR for these, so I'm using f2.8, which is a wider aperture. So the robot bridge is nice and in focus, but you can see if I go to f8, the little spaceman in the background and those little robots on the yellow targets, you can see them again, but I think I prefer the wider aperture on this one. This one here, the wider aperture, doesn't look great because only the 1 is in focus. If I make the aperture a bit smaller, I can focus a bit more. I've started on the 2 there. Then at f8, everything's in focus and that looks a bit better. Now here's a picture without the flash, so you can see the light as it is. Here's a picture with the flash. It tends to wash out a lot of the colour and you lose a lot of that colour that you would otherwise have in the picture. So where you can, I'd recommend not using flash and trying to make sure you're using the light available. Now, opportunity for some interesting pictures here. Underneath the play field, there's all the little lights and little solenoids which fire off from the wires. So a nice wide aperture for this. I focused on the top corner here with that LED chipboard. And it just gives us a nice little bit of atmosphere, and you can see the sort of world underneath the table there. This one I kind of prefer. The light bulbs were a bit brighter in this machine. I was able to use a smaller aperture to get more in focus. These pictures were just taken with the camera sat right on top of the play field, so we could see what it was like, what the ball's perspective was of the game. It's worth trying some different angles with your photography and seeing, you know, what works and what doesn't work. Have a play with it. Now, these Lego pictures, all taken on a mobile phone. Lots of different things to take pictures of here, and getting close to the subjects is going to get me the best sort of angles. Taking pictures above will just make them look quite small, so we're going to have a play with some different angles and positions here to see what we get. Now your mobile phone, this is taken on iPhone 6, I've got no zoom on that one, but I've zoomed in a little bit here. It looks a little bit better because it brings the background close to the foreground. You can see if I zoom in all the way, the background comes even closer, but this is digital zoom on the camera. Actually loses some of that quality, so I found just about doing about half the zoom is about the right measure for what I want to be taking here. I've got a lot of light from the top here. The camera automatically does the exposure and shutter speed, so I don't have to worry too much about that. So just a little bit of zoom and really worrying about the composition, taking pictures from different angles, seeing what works best. I mean, this one's been balanced out a little bit because you've got the character on the left and the bit on the right there. This one here follows the rule of thirds, so he's on the 2/3 of the left there on his bicycle, and the other side is blank to, you know, make the picture seem balanced. We'll put him right in the middle. This picture here, we've got a photographer in the top left. I've tapped on the screen to focus on her, make sure she's in focus, and then the background's blurred nicely. The closer you get with your mobile phone subjects, the easier it will be to blur the background. This picture here, if I was to take it again, I'd probably get some light underneath it. The angle's fine, I'm happy with that, but his face is a little bit in shadow because of his hat. Now you can see if I took this picture from a high angle, it wouldn't look anywhere near as good. So it's really good to, you know, get in with your macro photography and get closer to your subjects to, you know, get the best composition. This one here, again, I'm only a few inches off the table, but you can see it does look small and not as important, whereas taking it from a slightly lower angle makes it look more impressive, and it makes your subject just look that much more important. So it's really worth trying different angles. This one, it doesn't have to, if you haven't got Lego, if you haven't got much Lego, you could do different things, or have a go with some different toys to have a play with some of that macro photography, maybe in different scenarios and situations. So this is a fisheye shot of the Lego city. Really, I think that macro was the better thing to be doing with it. The fisheye lens is a bit of a tricky one to use. It works well with skate photography, but it depends what you're doing. So now over to you. It's your chance to have a go and get some pictures. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're doing. I know it's a bit tricky in isolation. The pictures in your garden would be nice. I'm hoping you have some fun, enjoyment practicing and playing with the cameras and seeing what different effects you can have. Maybe playing with some slow shutter speed, seeing what you can do with blur in action. Hopefully you'll get some nice pictures that you're really happy with. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the ones that you share and what we get to see back from the competition.